Welcome back to OPA Podcast. Today we return post Michigan. Today we have partial crew. Griffin's out working tonight, but you have the three of us. So I'm one of your hosts, Jason, along with Soup. Say hi.
Hi.
And Wyatt.
Hello.
And we come back post Michigan. So there are a lot of things to talk about. I think, if I'm being quite honest, guys, I think I'm a little bit more not as salty compared to Iowa. But again, some things to improve upon with this team. But there were really some good stuff that happened against Michigan. I think, does that best summarize everyone's thoughts here coming back from the weekend?
Not really.
Yeah,
This Michigan team sucks. They should have beat the shit out of them.
I mean, it is hard to be uh, more unhappy with this team after this game than we were last week against
Yeah,
Iowa,
sure.
which is also a team that is not that good. That's not to say that there's not a ton of room for improvement. That's just to say, like, this game feels better than that one.
This was like the inverse of the North Carolina game and the Iowa game, right? Come out completely inept in the first half, look great in the second half, right?
Literally a tale of two halves.
I mean, that's been the whole thing for them this season, right? Can't put together 4 quarters of football in a row. It
Well, can't put together 4 quarters of football in 1 week
Yeah,
anyway.
I mean in
Yeah.
a row either. Like it hasn't been consistent just at all.
Yeah, it's just at a certain point, you want to see 4 quarters of football together, like
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess for me, like the top line just being like I came away from this game being like, man, we really had a shot. Like you more than a shot. Like if they played like they did in the second half, the whole game, they beat this Michigan team. Like that Michigan team, guys, is not good. They're not. They are
It,
really struggling on offense. They're very good on defense. They're really struggling on offense. They have really no identity passing the ball. They really only can
correct.
run it.
Well, I will have to give kudos to like Kalel Mullings, their running back
He
on the
good.
offense side. He is really good. Um,
Guys, has two pretty good running backs. Let's just be
yeah,
clear about that.
Yeah, but Donovan Edwards didn't really do much.
yeah, he was quiet most of the this entire game. But no, Mullings, like, he alone is the one, two,
22 for 111, 2 touchdowns,
yep. And it was thanks
It's
to him.
50%
weird to
success
be
rate,
It was thanks to him that they ran the clock out in the end as well. So,
five
like,
yards a play.
yeah,
Pretty good.
very good. So, but besides Mullings, the running back, and then their defense, who, as we know, it's a really great unit. A lot of NFL dudes on that side of the ball. But their quarterback was it Orgy was his name.
Hmm.
Um, Alex Orgy was only 10 of 18 for 86 yards, one tutty, one interception. His longest passing play was 16 yards.
As long as passing play was a pick, but
Yeah. Oh, that too. But I'm looking at completions here. But
no,
you're,
yeah,
you're
he's
right.
very clearly an athlete who they're asking to learn how to play quarterback.
Hmm.
Um,
Like, I
and I
think
mean,
this was like the Jim Harbaugh's thing, like during his entire time before he had JJ McCarthy as his quarterback. Like, they had pretty much athletes at the quarterback position who can run the ball.
it's Michigan.
Yeah.
They always will.
So I'm not surprised that this was their quarterback situation after
It's just a
JJ
very different
left.
looking team than the national champions last year. They
Yep.
lost Blake Corum, Roman Wilson, JJ McCarthy, Vikings legend. And they've got a lot of guys from this offense last year playing in the NFL right now, which is, good for them, but not good for you in the way their team has looked to start the year. I would be
yeah.
very concerned. Colston Loveland, the receiver, had a nice game. He did good with the targets that he had, but I don't think he was healthy. Really looked like he was battling something all game. But other than like Colston Loveland, Mullings on offense, I don't know. I wasn't really impressed. They're good up front. Duh. Um, I just I came away from this game just really disappointed, right? Like Like, I think the Iowa game I came back like frustrated from. This was just disappointing because this team, they just cannot get out of their own way. And I don't understand. And they should be some combination of 4-1 right now. Right?
I can
Yeah,
agree to that.
I
Right?
think
Like,
that's
you
yep.
drop one of Iowa, Michigan, let's say. Carolina looks awful. Should have beaten them. And then, you win one of those Iowa, Michigan games and you lose the other one and you're 4-1 and you feel completely different about the season right now. But it's just inconsistent. I mean, the first half they open up and they just start running the ball. And it's like, why? I just don't. They seem committed to like making the run game work on its own. And I really just do not understand.
That, but the other one that I know you guys were harping on it during the group chat. Just so for those listening and watching the podcast today, I was at the Minnesota Renaissance Festival during that first half, so all I could do was just look at the play-by-play and like detailed notes of that. And I know there's a lot. Like if there was any passing, it was way behind the line of scrimmage. I know some were good where they blocked well and we got chunk yardage or a first down out of it. But a lot of times you're not going to fool that Michigan defense.
Yeah, and I mean to open the game against Michigan, who's one of the best run defending teams in the country, they've got two top 100 NFL guys playing on the defensive line. Your first what is this? 5 plays, run, scramble, run, drop. Yuck.
Yeah.
Yuck. Like to me, I don't understand. So they seem willing. They seem to understand that they need to pass to open up the run game, and they're kind of like backing into it that way this year, which is good. But then they also seem to just want to come out against these teams and run the football right away, as if they've been doing it well all year. And I just don't get it. Like, I don't understand what more you need to, because I think that's part of the problem of why they are not consistent when they open up these games. Because we said this a little bit earlier, right? It was like the inverse, whereas the second half was good here, the first half was bad. The rest of the games, they're more willing to start throwing right away. The first half looks better, and then they open up the second half trying to run the ball, and it looks disjointed again. So it's like, what is the common denominator here, right?
PJ Fleck's conservative nature and wanting to run the ball.
Yeah, yeah, and you can still do that.
I don't get why this is the team where you really choose to, take on establishing the run right from the get-go.
Yeah, why is this the week
It's
to
the
do it?
first game where we've seen this as like the approach. We have to run the football, so what we're going to do is only run the football right away. And it goes back to what we've seen the last 2-3 seasons of we were really good at running the football, so that's all we did. And now we're not good at running the football, but we're still going to try to establish the run against, like you said, 2 NFL caliber defensive linemen right down their throat.
And in theory, the offensive line should be better than this. It's a lot of upperclassmen on the offensive line right now, and they're not playing well at all.
They're not.
I mean,
A lot of penalties. I will note that like that unit on the offensive line, I think got the most penalties on our team, in terms of flags being called like ratio wise, right? And then they just got beat. Like I think there was one where Max got sacked by just only defensive tackles and nose tackles, like no edge rushers. They got pressured by 4 dudes. Max didn't have much time to make his reads, and he gets sacked. Right. That's one of those instances where like, guys, you're supposed to be better than this. Ariane, seriously, like what the fuck are you doing? Like you're a top returning guy for us at left tackle, and you let him get to Max's like blind side, right? Like
Yeah.
it's frustrating because like historically, like with PJ's teams, offensive line has always been decent. I'll say
Yeah.
that. But this is not that offensive line.
Well, this is supposed
we've
to be
seen.
one of your better units because you're setting up kind of the same scenario you did in 2019, where it's a lot of older guys along the line, right? And they're just not. They're just flat out. I mean, from Ryan Burns here, this was, I think, the first penalty on the offensive line for the game. This is like maybe the first or second quarter. Is a hold on the left guard. It's the 11th penalty on Minnesota's offensive line in 5 games. The offensive line has committed only 6 penalties in 13 games all last season.
Just I don't know what's up with this. It's not the team that we expected it to be. I think we can safely say that.
Yeah, I mean, I just think you know, um, I just think it's inconsistent. Like it's like the pass blocking is inconsistent. The run in general is like mostly bad. Um,
Or like they game plan to run the ball when you know our team is more built to be a passing team. Like, and we talked about this before. Like, don't stray away at what you're already good at, right? Like if it ain't broke, don't fix it or don't replace it. And in this case, they're instead of passing first, they're trying to run the ball on, like you guys mentioned, the top rushing defense in the country.
I mean, I understand that you can't be one dimensional either. Like I know, but like
Yeah.
to come out, I just feel like it throws them kind of off their tempo, right? Like because then the next drive they come back and they go, what is it? Scramble, pass, right? And it's just like all passes, all runs to start the drives, and it's like it's just hard to be consistent like that, you know.
Yeah.
I just don't like. It feels unnecessary right now to come out and to prioritize running the ball. It feels like you need to come out prioritizing throwing the ball, and then it's been opening up the run game for you down the stretch, and to just trust that that's going to open. And like you're still going to run your inside zones, your reads, your tosses, whatever. Like you're still going to run all that stuff because you want to mix it up. But like dial up something early to like open up the run game for you, to take linebackers out of the box, to keep them from stacking guys in there. Start challenging teams downfield right away, right?
Yeah.
Because that'll pull those guys out of the box for you, and then you can run much easier. You're like already kind of running into these +1, +2 boxes for the sake of it, and then you're not attacking teams downfield either. And I think it looks to me at least like Brosmer gets a little juiced to start these games sometimes, and he's just a little inaccurate at the beginning of the games, and he settles in and he looks fine, looks good even. So I also think it would benefit them if they just scheme some layups up for him to start.
Some easy, quick completions. Yeah, because looking at it, so I think this, for me, the spark sort of like on that last drive for the Gophers were heading into halftime. Like right here in 1 minute and 54 seconds, we had a 10 play, 77-yard drive down to like what Michigan's 1 or 2 yard line.
The 2 minute offense, the 2 minute, 4 minute offense should just be the offense.
Yeah, because when these guys play with tempo, they're making the defense right. The opposing defense actually rush things. Actually can't get their like game plan. Their calls out in time.
The
right?
tempo is good. The tempo is good, but I more think it's the concepts that they run when they get to these 2 minute drills. Like they start doing a better job of like having real passing concepts and like attacking the boundary and like getting rubs on the side for your guys and like completion out of bounds, right? Like stuff like that needs to just be it should just be in the offense. You shouldn't have to wait till 2 minutes to like
Yeah.
actually like attack teams. It feels like you're like trying to not make mistakes too much, and it's kind of keeping you from doing anything explosive to start the game.
Certainly. And it's been awesome. Whenever they go into like tempo 2 4 minute drill, pretty much, especially in that fourth quarter. Like looking at the 3 touchdowns that we scored in that fourth quarter. Let's see, 12 plays, 76 yards, 459. Next one, it's 3 plays, 7. Like the next one is from we'll get to him. Coy Parrish, his long punt return there to set us up, which with very short field is 3 plays, 17 yards, score in less than a minute. 40 is that 47 seconds total, and then our last touchdown was 14 plays, 75 yards in under 3 minutes. Like it was exciting to see tempo and 2 to 4 minute drill happen on that, like for us passing wise, and it was great.
Yeah, but you're not doing it until you need to do it.
Correct. And I agree with you. So I think we should be doing that to start off, because I think this is how Max and this team gels best, and the receivers can gel best. And we've seen it throughout the season too, not just Michigan, but like when they had play with tempo in the other games. I realized I haven't thought about it now because like I've noticed it but never bothered to mention it. But when that happens in the other games, same thing. It happened during Iowa in one of the drives. It was fun. It was great to see. But as you mentioned, it's a lot of inconsistency. Again, we had like a shitty first half, and then Michigan goes up on us 21-3 at halftime, and then our defense only, and then second half, completely different start. Defense only holds them to 6 points. No turnovers here. Special teams came through on a moment that we really needed the most. Coy Parrish getting that really amazing punt return. I feel like he wanted to bust towards the end zone, but he got pushed.
Play by the punter.
Yeah, he got pushed out by the punter, and I think he ran into one of our defenders in front of him, which again, it's fine. But
It was sweet.
It's better than we have seen in many years on special teams.
Yeah.
Or at least in that facet of special teams. And it's exciting to genuinely have someone who's, producing on special teams.
Yeah, I'm excited when he does bust it out into the end zone. And I hope
it'll happen.
It's gonna happen. He's gonna do it.
Yeah. And I know we should be, talking about the inconsistencies further, but I think the flashes when we did score, Soup Wright and Wyatt in the, the tempo plays, if we didn't do that, I don't think we would score another touchdown this entire game. And one of them was an amazing grab by Daniel Jackson. Like, there's a reason why he's your top wideout. And then Elijah Spencer.
How do you call that incomplete?
I had no idea.
What are you looking at?
Daniel Jackson deserves just so much praise for pulling that ball in. And it's the Daniel Jackson that we really wanted to see this year. That was him. Yeah. That was him on that play.
And then Elijah Spencer being that number 2 guy for Max Brosmer. Like, right now, I hate to say, like, I know Christian Driver and Lemeke Brockington will get their touches, right, their catches in the game. But, like, right now, the guys that are bailing you out on these drives, right, is D-Jack and Elijah Spencer.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's also important to point at how they finish those drives, right? They pass to get down there. They're opening it up. And then they go, okay, we're going to, now that we got you spread out, first and goal from the 4, Darius Taylor, handoff, right? Like, then you can run your zone runs from the gun in the low red zone in a much more efficient way because you threaten them with the pass all drive.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, it makes so much sense. And like, I think I find it very interesting that they finish those drives with runs and they work, and it's for good reason. And it's like, this should tell you something, right?
Yeah, you would think you can learn from this.
Like for me, I think that's the formula. Like this is our formula for this current team in offense, right? Throw the ball to open
Yep.
it, drive down the field, and then make them, spread out when you're in the red zone, and
Yeah.
perfect 3 yard, 4 yard runs for Darius Terry, your best running back on the team.
Yeah.
But they don't like. Again, that's the inconsistent part. They don't do that.
You just need to attack downfield just enough to pull guys out of the box, and then the run game will get so much easier. Don't just like run into these boxes for no reason.
Sorry, Griffin posted a note, which we'll get to in a bit here. um, but yeah, but yeah, I think I want to get to that onside kick in the end. But is there anything else besides the inconsistency?
That's just offense.
Yeah, that's just offense alone.
Defense.
Ethan Robinson getting that pick.
Yeah. Ethan Robinson is playing some of the best cornerback play in like college football right now. He's like one of the highest rated corners in the league right now.
And he had to step up because Justin Wally is still out with injury too.
Mm-hmm.
And
That pick he had was so good.
Like he read Alex Orji perfectly, got in front of the receiver.
Turns, runs that thing down.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And then like cuts it and takes it from the receiver, right? So it's
Yep.
amazing play. But I think overall defensively, I saw it in the first. You guys can disagree with it, but I think in the first half we were a bit inconsistent, right? We were missing tackles, running into each other, but then towards like the latter part of the second quarter, and then entirely all the second half, we only allowed Michigan 6 points after halftime. Try to keep this game close for a chance for us, right? Like I thought defense notably improved from the week before. Like they made less errors this time, which is great. But you can tell like if this defense stays buttoned up and do what they're supposed to do and make their tackles and be there in their assignments and don't bite so early in some occasions, this unit is good. Like really, really good. And we did it against Michigan.
I mean, they still had trouble defending the run, though. I mean,
yeah, maybe what's it, 5
still
yards
can't
per
stop the
carry?
run.
5 yards per carry for Khalil Mullings, right? Like that's
Yeah.
two touches and that's a first down, pretty much guaranteed. So that is still rough, but again, I'm just trying to gleam off the positives. Like, hey, I think we can do better, and we can see that post Iowa, but for sure, not great when you're letting 5 to 6 yards per carry by a talented running back.
Yeah, it's just not good. The running defense needs to get better, but unfortunately, I mean, I guess fortunately, it's more of a passing team coming to town this week, but the run defense is still just like a major issue that I don't think is going to get better. So I don't know what it is. I thought the defensive line played better-ish. Just the run fits and the tackling is just still, it's the same problems.
Yeah, and Griffin made note of that. Like Cody Lindenberg looked hesitant to fill those gaps in moments during the game. And Griffin's only that long run for the touchdown by Khalil Mullings during the first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
It's plays like that stick out like a really big sore thumb on that.
Yeah, they keep giving up the big back-breaking plays. They usually hold enough for most of the game, but then they just give up those backbreakers.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's all I got on defense. Unless you guys got anything else.
I don't know. I thought the penalty by Jalen Redding was bad.
Which penalty was that? I'm trying to recall here.
It's the roughing the passer one. He just like face mask slams him. It's just like, relax, you got him. You don't need to panic and throw him down. Just like take a second to grab his shoulder pads. You're right there. So that's brutal, but otherwise, I don't know. Just the defense is playing well. They still can't defend the run. The defensive backs have played well. Like asterisk run support without Justin Wally has not been great, but passing wise, they're like very strong. So it's just so weird.
It is weird. Let's get, and then going from there, special teams. Besides Corey Parrich's big punt return in the fourth quarter to set us up for that touchdown that in the game, the one that stuck out to me like a sore thumb, and I'm probably kudos to Michigan, but Mark Crawford's his punt game blocked.
Yeah, it's
there.
tough. Dragon missed another kick.
Dragon missing that 55-yard kick as well.
That was 4th and 11, right? Like, just to go back really, since we're talking about special teams, let's talk about the situation he puts his kicker in, right? Because that was like 4th and 11, right? Like, he had just called a timeout. He had just called a timeout to do this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you go, so, yeah, because you're 2nd and 8. 3rd and 8, you run a screen, right, that goes backwards. Why? Like, if you really want to play for the field goal,
what's the point?
If you really want to play for the field goal, why aren't you trying to get a couple of yards? Give Darius the ball, let him get 3-4 yards, and it's an much easier field goal. Why are you like screwing your kicker like this? And then you call a timeout to think about it instead of just like at that point, take the delay and punt. That's what I would have done. Just take the delay and punt.
And we know what kind of punter Mark Crawford is. So if you give like what delay game, what's 5 yards? So we move back another 5 yards. It'll be 4th and 16. You could pin him behind the 5.
You could just pin him deep.
Yeah,
pin him behind the 20 pretty easily from there, and they weren't doing. They were up 7-0 at that point. Who cares? Like they had a big run play. Like, just don't let that happen again. Pin him deep. Go play defense. Like, I thought that was so bad. They call that timeout, and then you don't have it for the halftime drive. Like, whatever.
Yeah, and
special teams though.
Yeah, but I think on the same vein, again, it's sort of special teams really, but I was how should I phrase this? It was amazing to see how fast the kicking unit got out, because I think they're still moving the chains down the field or something like that. Because the clock stopped to be converted. That
was actually a miss by Michigan. They should have subbed because we subbed.
Yeah,
so they had time to sub, and if they sub, the time just runs out.
Yeah, but it was, again, kudos on special teams for getting out there so quick and scoring a chip shot field goal.
Oh yeah,
to at least get us 3. However, in the manner of big picture, right? I'm surprised PJ didn't just have the offense race down there and just do a QB sneak or give it to Darius Taylor. But then again,
Jason, do you maybe wish you had a timeout there? Is what you're saying?
That too.
Because that's the timeout I was referring to that he wishes he had.
Yeah.
Yep.
There it is, right there. Would have been nice to have. I literally saw them catch that, and I saw them like go complete, and I looked at my buddy and I go, "Wouldn't it be nice to have a timeout right here?"
Yeah, but yeah, if you had that touchdown, that timeout, it might have.
I think if you have a timeout, you end up going for the touchdown.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. But no, again, kudos to the team getting out there, and then obviously Dragon making that kick, getting his confidence back, right? But besides that, I'd say special teams more so was so per se.
The block punt's really bad.
It is.
The block punt's really bad. Koi Parrish is he's really exciting.
Koi Parrish is good. He's gonna return one.
Yeah, he's gonna get one.
Yeah. So
God, I hope he gets 2.
it's crazy that their EPA on punting is negative to the point where Koi Parrish's return did not affect it enough to be positive.
Oh no.
61-yard return. It's like not enough to put your special teams EPA positive. It's kind of funny.
To mention from Griffin, Koi Parrish is his neckton of the week.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we do that.
Yeah.
To quote Griffin, Koi, a dog with italics, aggressive barking. Love the return game adding a spark. But yeah, I think that's it for me on all 3 phases of our team.
Special teams has one more thing.
What did
To
I
touch
miss?
One
on.
more thing to touch on.
They perfectly executed an onside kick
Yes.
and got absolutely robbed.
Yes.
Which, like, when we have been asking for this long for special teams to make these kinds of plays, to make these big plays that are impactful on
They
football
recover
games,
that ball in field goal range.
and they do it, and then it gets overturned by this penalty.
Air quotes.
That
Penalty.
air quotes penalty that. Sue, I'm sure you want to talk about this a little more, but they later changed how the rule looks on that penalty.
Well, so apparently PJ got a call from the commissioner of the Big Ten, Jim Delaney, to discuss, quote unquote, the call. And effective immediately, the Big Ten is changing how where they have their officials stand to watch onside kicks now.
Wait.
Yeah,
So where was the referee standing then? When what?
I think the FAR official's the one who threw it.
Okay.
And I think they're just putting them right next to each other because you can tell which way they're going to kick it on an onside kick, you know?
Yeah.
So I think they're just moving both guys over there. Is what it looks like.
And the offsides call, just to confirm, the quote unquote, like that penalty that they threw a flag for. Mm-hmm. So one of our linebackers on special teams supposedly passed the line before Dragon kicked it. Or did he get to the line before the ball passed it?
When the ball's kicked, he's not past the line.
So like that's what I understood.
Even the guy in like the post game show was losing his mind.
Yeah,
over it.
Like former Washington head coach Chris Peterson was losing his mind in the post game show.
Mike Pereira. You had Mike Pereira saying it wasn't offsides on Fox.
Yeah, and then like Joe Klatt was like, "That's not offsides," as
that
well.
Was rough.
Like they had the media bewildered on Fox because like we're obviously being aired on Fox. Like even Michigan fans were like, "Yeah, you guys got torched on that." I have a coworker who's a Michigan fan. Actually, quite a few Michigan fans actually, and they're like, I know you don't want to talk about this, Jason, but like, I'll be honest, you guys got cooked on that stupid penalty. And I was like, yeah, it was brutal, but not just that, but another, not special teams, but another penalty, not a penalty, but another missed call on the refs was that interception. I know you mentioned it, Soup. Like it was wishy-washy.
Bad.
Yeah,
they were just bad. Like on second watch, the refs were just kind of bad. Like they were bad for both teams, really. Like you've got the interception, which I thought was questionable. I thought his foot was out of bounds. I guess not. Whatever. Then there's they get the extra dive out of bounds, so they get like 3 free yards. It was like 3rd and 6. This is the 3rd and 9, right? Where PJ calls that first timeout. Remember that timeout we've been talking about?
Yep.
The timeout that we've been talking about.
Yeah, so the refs cost you a timeout there that we've talked about, but and then they don't pick up that he clearly steps out of bounds before diving forward, and it's a completely different third down, but you also lose a timeout over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I can be here and bitch about the officiating all day, but in the end, it's our team fell way short of what we can do, or in the first half. Like that hole shouldn't have been there in the first place. Like the refs will always fuck things up, in my opinion, either be college or pros.
Right?
But
Like
in that
PJ
moment,
always says, you don't lose on one play.
yeah, and we lost in the first half, and you know, if that flag never got pulled, it may have changed the course. It might have tied the game. It might have actually won it in the last minute and a half. But again, that's hypotheticals. That is, what could have happened, what ifs, right? But at the end of the day, after letting the weekend and the Monday sit through overreaction Monday, it's just this team didn't do what they needed to do to get the win, and it's inconsistencies, as we talked about all podcasts and throughout so far this season. It's things like that gets you in this hole. And obviously it's great to see him bounce back, touchdown, like 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter to get us 3 points within 3 points to try to tie or win the game, right?
Yeah.
But you shouldn't have been there in the first place, and that's just my thoughts on it. And
I think
hopefully it's a learning
aggressive,
experience,
right?
Yeah,
If you're more aggressive throughout the game, I think it's different.
but in the end, like it's and I'll go quote Griffin here, and I agree with him. As we're oddly at peace with everything, given we expected to lose, but just not the way how it ended, which I can agree with. Like, we expected to come in, get trounced, or come out with a loss, but it's not the end the way it did. And that's I'm at peace with it now. It's not too bad. Like as you mentioned, should be like really frustrated post Iowa because you just laid a goose egg in that entire second half, right? So I'm okay with it in the end, but again, the too many inconsistencies left this team losing in the end, despite what happened with officiating.
Yep.
So yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, I guess my shout out, I guess, before we move on, if I had to pick a neck taunt for the week, it'd be Ethan Robinson. Just wow.
I wholeheartedly agree with that. The dude's been making plays and stepping up.
Yeah, you gotta be pretty happy with his performance.
So on to the next.
Yes, so coming up next here, the Gophers will be hosting USC at Huntington Bank Stadium this Saturday, October 5th at 6:30 p.m. Central. So it's going to be the evening slate for Big Ten Network. So it'll be airing on that channel along with broadcasting on KFAN FM 100.3. The game coming into it, betting odds wise, over under is at 51.5, and the spread is favoring USC minus 8.5. That is the numbers that I currently have. Again, that could change. And in my immediate thought, is like the Vegas numbers, I could see that happening. Like we lose within a touchdown or plus a field goal or something, right? But going into it, so Miller Moss is their quarterback. What else about this team? I didn't do much research. I was digging further for the recap from Michigan.
Yeah.
But this USC squad was the same team that lost to Michigan the week prior. USC is currently 4-1 as well. They won all their non-conference slates, particularly beating LSU. Was it 27-24 was the final score for that game, which is I think the biggest buzz that happened during the early part of the season. Other than that, I'm not sure what to make of this USC team. Like they're good. Lincoln Riley's their head coach.
They've got Jacoby Lane's pretty good.
Yeah.
75% success rate when targeted. He is averaging 10 yards a play. He's got 4 touchdowns. They're very efficient running the ball too. Their main backs are both north of 6 yards a carry right now. So, I mean, Miller Moss 8-2 touchdown to interception ratio. They're gonna put up some points. They're pretty good on offense at least.
That they are. Yep. And I hate to dig up older stuff here, but the last time the Gophers that played against USC was against a Jerry Kill coached Gophers football team, losing 17-19. If I have that score right, or was it 16-19? So
Something like that.
yep. So it's been a while since you last played USC, but USC is, again, they're no slouch. Like I'm,
Big Ten.
yep, Big Ten. I know preseason wise, all three of us are currently on air here. All said L's. The exception is Griffin, and I'll get into his prediction later. But yeah, my thing is, can we be more consistent this game? Because if we are, I could see a win. But the way how this team is rolling right now, guys, I just think it's going to be inconsistent for one quarter or two, and then it'll be like skyrocketing for like the other 2 quarters of the game.
They're going to give up too many explosives on defense, I think.
Yeah. Especially that, like,
these athletes are different. Than,
yep.
You know, the USC's got really, really good athletes.
So like, unlike Michigan, where they really couldn't throw the ball, in this game, Miller Moss is
very different.
Either go torch you in the air, or their stable running backs going to run all over us. It's like pick your own poison for this game, pretty much. And then maybe, hopefully, Corey Parrish brings it to the hustle on a punt return. Pretty please.
That would be nice. Yeah, the Gophers are going to need to be much better on third down than they are right now. So they're not good on third down right now, only 46%.
Yeah, which is not great. So with the numbers in mind of what we know about this USC team, let's get into predictions. So I'll cover Griffin and mine first, and then we'll go Wyatt and Soup last. So getting into it, Griffin, preseason wise, predicted us to win. The lone person to predict that. He says the Gophers will win 30-27. And just a note of that, Griffin is actually 5-0 in his preseason predictions right now as well.
Nice.
So perfect slate. And then Wyatt and Soup, you guys are tied at 4-1, and then I'm behind at 3-2. But going from there,
needed one of those UNC or Iowa games.
Looking into that, so my prediction is I'm still taking the L, but I think we will take it will be the over, and Gophers lose 24-31 this game.
Right. Yeah. I'm looking at these past 2 weeks for these teams, and I know something that sticks out to me is that Minnesota's coming off a 27-24 loss to Michigan, and USC 2 weeks ago suffered a 27-24 loss to Michigan. Just a point to note out here that this is maybe more interesting of a game than we're making it out to be. I'm not saying we're beating USC. That's, in my mind, it's not happening. I think it's comfortably a 20-28 game. A nice clean loss right on what I'm seeing as the ESPN bet spread.
Yeah, I mean, USC's no slouch on defense either. I think it's going to be a very hard game for the Gophers if they don't stay aggressive early right away. For me, I don't know. Go ahead. You still going?
No, I'm done. I've
Okay.
wrapped.
No, yeah, I didn't know if you were still lamenting or not.
I mean, I'm still lamenting, just more quietly.
That's fair. That's fair. For me, I don't know. I'm gonna say like, give me like 31-20 USC, something like that.
But yeah, we'll call it a night here, everyone. Thank you so much for listening and watching Opa Podcast with us, with Soup,
It's sad. I'm gonna miss this game.
Wyatt,
Sad.
and myself, Jason L, and absent today, Griffin. But thank you so much for listening to our recap of Michigan and previewing USC this upcoming weekend. We'll see you guys next week to recap the USC game and preview UCLA. And then not long after that, we'll be actually heading into the bye. So we'll have no podcasts post bye week. But other than that, we'll see you then. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode and have a great night or great day. So we'll see you guys next time.